So let's get it going. And I'm going to bring Ron on right now. Here he is. Ron.
Hey, how's everybody out there doing, guys? Ron Musgraves, Pressure Washing Institute Contractors First. Hey, I'm glad to be here with you, Caleb. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, appreciate you taking time out of the day, man. So you don't need much of an introduction. Everybody knows you.
I don't know if everybody knows me.
One way or the other. So I really wanted to have a chat with you about, a lot of companies are really spearheading the live industry free training events. And I just wanted to get your take on what's the future with all the craziness in the world today. What's your take on the future of training events for the industries?
Well, I can speak, and I'm going to speak about my training events. And you know that most people know I got a history of doing this for like 20 years. Been doing roundtables in the exterior cleaning industry. And, when 5 or 6 guys would get together, have a cup of coffee, at a coffee shop or meet up somewhere and just basically BS with one another, network amongst each other, which is something I always believe in, embracing your competition, working with the guys in your area. That's really what I think my training events are more about. But the future of the industry, we've made lots of mistakes over the years doing training events. And I don't think enough people are doing actual in-person training and actually doing training. We've gone to this, and I don't mean to beat up on the YouTube gurus per se or the guys, but we've gone on to where everybody thinks that they can learn everything just on YouTube. And I remember meeting up with you. We've known each other like 3 years now, and you were really focused on, you wanted to have free in-person training, and look at how well last year's went. What'd you have, 400 plus people at your Nashville Wood Fest, and you think you're going to have that many this year or more?
It'll be bigger this year, quite a bit bigger.
And you've gone to 3 days. You were 2 days. Now you're going to 3 days. You're implementing we're going to, like Caleb was talking about, we're going to do an entire day for exterior wash industry on this, piggybacking this on the 26th. But my events is just like yours. We're big on hands-on. There is some classroom stuff, but I think that you've got to have, I think a good event is, and this is what, if people are looking to go to events, I think a good event is having a half classroom and a half hands-on type of training. If you're going to just classroom events and you're doing that type of training, well, guess what? I think you could do that on the internet. I think you could do that. You could save yourself a lot of time and do it on Zoom. And I wouldn't say that in-person, even classroom, isn't more important, but I would say that if you're not getting to a training event where you're actually doing hands-on stuff, I think that you might be wasting a lot of money traveling. What's your take on that?
I feel like there's a place for both. When we do events, our biggest thing I like to do is, obviously there's some hands-on stuff, but the big thing that you get is you get to get in a room with guys like you, guys like Abrams, guys like, all these experts in the industry. And when you get many great minds in a room, you get new concepts, new things come up. And really, I've seen that that's what pushes the industry forward. And if you're at those events, it really puts you at the tip of the spear on the things that are changing in the industries. The wood care industry, we're really trying to push for maintenance. Power wash guys have been doing maintenance for 30, 40, 50 years probably. We don't do that. How can the wood guys get into that game?
Not that long, but yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, people need maintenance on their wood, right? More than they do on concrete.
Yeah. So it puts you in the right place. It gets you in the right place, and you get hands-on stuff. We can. I think the biggest thing with the training events is you can see how easy it is to do some things, but also you can realize that there's a huge amount of nuance there that only comes with time. So you get to actually get hands-on and do something, and you get to see you get to feel it and do it, but you also get to see what it looks like from somebody who's been doing it for 20 years, who's really good.
I want you to tell me what this equates to. Okay. So you know what a downstream injector is, right? Did I lose you?
Yeah, it looks like we're buffering.
Okay. Did you know what a downstream injector is?
Yep, I sure do.
Okay. Believe this one. There are people, contractors that I talk to that have been in business sometimes 5 and 10 years, and they've never seen a downstreamer. You understand? And to not know what the tool is that 90% of the industry uses and be in business for 5 years, in some respects, me as an educator, and I consider myself an educator, that's a failure for us in the industry. And that's one of the reasons why when I do an event now, I try to play out every way you could possibly do something, and then if we learn a new one, we'll implement that and figure that out. Now, I never tell anybody that there's only one way to skin a cat, because that's just not true. I mean, we learn as experts to do the things we do and maybe do them more proficient, and then we feel like our way is better. But for some, another way may be a better way. And as long as they're achieving the same the results, if they can achieve the same results, I can't say that one way really is better than another one. Lots of people get on me about that because they go, oh no, you've got to have the 8-gallon a minute machine. You've got to use the gas powered pumps. You got to, we're going to show people at the Panhandle event here coming up in January, and we're going to show them at your event as well. We're going to show them what a garden hose does against a 12-volt pump, and they're going to be pretty amazed at what a garden hose does against a 12-volt pump. And people think that they've got to do things a certain way all the time, and they must have the biggest, best, and baddest equipment. You and I both know, because you and I are honed in on production and numbers. Sometimes when you're excessively using stain, like if you've got a bigger sprayer, your guys are applying more stain and it's costing you more money. And they're trying, I don't want to say trying to one coat a fence, because you don't one coat a fence, but how if they're putting way more stain than they need to coat it, you're just you're doubling your costs on the stain as far as it is putting it, applying it. And as a numbers guy, when you crunch that number, instead of using $20,000 a quarter in stain, that thing jumps up to $30,000 or $40,000 in stain use. And It's the same thing in our industry for chemicals. These chemicals aren't free, and lots of times guys think bigger is always a better option for them. And really, there's a fine line there between what someone's ability is as well. You might get a guy like me that's older. I'm not going to be running around a side of a building trying to wash it. Where a younger guy, maybe a bigger machine in his hand, because he's going to he's going to choose to move 100 miles an hour. I'm not going to wash that way. You're probably not going to stain that way, because you want to be more methodical and make sure that you cover things the proper way. It's funny how there's some similarities in what we do. As people think that we're both spraying technicians at the day's end. I mean, that's what we do. You probably roll a little bit too. Guys, I don't think guys understand that pressure washing guys use rollers too when they're doing a graffiti abatement or paint removal, or any type of those other abatements that you do. We use rollers to apply products to basically take off things. But it's a very, very similar industry, and I guess it's why predominantly. And there's a question to ask you. What do you think the amount of where you just got raw stain and sealing guys versus how many pressure washing guys there are in your industry that have either migrated into it or they crossed over? Is it 20%? Is it half?
It's hard to put a number on that, because we really don't know what the whole market is. But at least from what I'm seeing, I see a pretty high, maybe. Let me tell you, I'll start it with
much higher than landscapers or paver sealer guys crossing over.
Absolutely. It's probably number one. It's probably the number one, because you guys get asked about it. Will you clean my fence and deck? Or the fence builder, will you build my fence or deck?
So you think that's where it comes from more than anything? It's the customer.
I think those guys are getting the ask more than other people. Painters get it too, but you just don't hear about painters because they're in a whole nother world. But I think
who service people forget to network with is swimming pool guys.
Yeah.
They forget to network with that guy, because that guy don't want to do nothing but take care of a pool. But he's been doing it so long, they trust him. So the homeowner is always asking them who they should use.
Oh yeah, for sure. And he's friendly, and he's the fun guy because he's got swimming trunks on and long blonde hair, you know. So that's it. Years ago, I was running a staining bid, and I quoted the job for $1,200 for a fence. And the guy told me, "Wow, that is such a great deal." He said, "The guy who's going to power wash it, he's charging me $1,200 just to clean it." And I thought, he's going to plug into their water, and I'm going to bring, $700 worth of stain out here. I got to figure this fence washing thing out. So that was kind of the start for me. So I think that's what it comes down to.
Hey, are you carrying pressure washing products now? Are you starting to carry machines and things like that?
We don't carry machines or equipment. We do strictly the chemicals: wood cleaners, wood brighteners, strippers, stuff like that. Degreasers. Yeah. We got a really great concrete cleaner we never tell anybody about. But.
Yeah. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to try that concrete cleaner out on the 26th. On the 26th, on the end of the power washing thing, we're going to cover anything from soft washing to all the pumps. As many pumps as we can get there, we're going to cover concrete cleaning as well. But obviously it's a wood thing. So we're going to obviously do some wood cleaning and preparation prior to staining as well. Obviously, I know you're going to do that probably the days prior as well. We'll probably cover it again. Maybe not as in depth, but we're going to show guys maybe the way we do it versus the way you do it, which I know I've seen you pressure wash, and I believe that you can pressure wash wood. Lots of guys don't believe you can. Let's clear that air. 300 PSI, 400 PSI. What do you think the pressure is?
Well, I think a lot of it depends on the finished outcome, what you expect. A lot of power washers are just doing a wash and that's it. We're in our industry, we're going to do a wash and then we're going to come back and stain and seal it. So a lot of times we've got the sanding aspect. We may come back and sand things up on decking to make it look nice. And so,
but you're not against power washing a deck.
Oh no, not at all.
With the grain, of course, not against the grain.
Hey, I'll be honest. I've seen guys get fantastic results with a surface cleaner. There's guys in our group that surface clean every single deck they do, and they have no issues. And so I think there's a lot of misconceptions. We use it.
Well, I think a lot of people don't understand that a pressure washer, you can go from 300 PSI to 3,500 PSI, and it's using the tool properly. And it's they always say that guns don't kill people, right? People kill people. Well,
you're right.
It's the same thing with pressure washers. Pressure washers don't damage substrates. People damage the substrates. I mean, and that's the reality of it. So, but
yeah, that's the biggest thing is just being smooth with it,
So we're February 24th, 25th, and 26th. That's in Nashville, guys. The guys that are watching this, some of my guys that are watching this, you got to remember and make sure that you lock up those dates. I got a lot of guys in Nashville that have already inquired. As a matter of fact, I talked to a couple of guys today that are doing that. But guys, don't forget, I'm out on the 7th of January. We're going to be in San Diego, California. I'm going to be doing just a hard surface restoration on a shopping center. It's only going to be about a 4-hour presentation, but that's on the 7th. This is all free stuff. And then we've got Trudy's event, which Caleb and the Sealing and Stain Pros will be at on the 19th and 20th of January. And you guys are going to be cleaning actual fence panels, right? We're in each module. You're going to wind up prepping them and staining them, or we're just going to be staining them? Well, what are we going to be doing?
I think I've seen the panels, and Christian, I don't know if he's in here or not, but I think I've seen the panels, and they're pretty nasty. Trudy's event, the panels, that's what you show me the pictures of. Okay, different event. I'm not sure what Trudy's doing. I think they've got a fence across the road that we can clean. And
she found actually some old fence and she picked it up, and she's got tons of it. So she's bringing it over for you.
Perfect.
We could do new ones. We could do old ones. It really doesn't matter. But
yeah, most of the training events, we usually get the worst of the worst. You get the worst case scenario. What I would like to try to do is get the 6-month, 8-month, 10-month-old fence that's just a little gray and show that one too, because that's the moneymaker for most guys, because that's what they're working with, something that's pretty new. we'll make sure that that's there.
Hey, I want to give everybody a tip. Does this tip hold true to staying, guys? I don't look for dirty places to clean. I look for clean places to clean.
Yeah.
Does that work does that work in the staining industry?
Oh yeah. Well, it makes perfect sense when you think about it. Why go after fight
the
City
people that
Hall
don't care?
Yeah. Well, the people who do it, they've been doing it for 20 years. So when you walk into their office, they already know, oh, this guy does contract cleaning or whatever. So same for us.
Yeah.
Same for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's
Yes,
awesome
sir.
stuff. I'm excited to do it. Are you coming out to Marco Ramondo's event? I don't want to put you on the spot, but that's Houston.
When is that one again?
8th, 9th, and 10th of February. 8th, 9th, and 10th of February.
I don't think I'll make that one. February is. I don't think I'll be home at all in February. So much travel going on. So I don't think I'll
you're
make
about
that
the same. I think from the 19th of January. I think I don't get back home until March. I think 3rd or something like
same
that.
for me.
March 3rd. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun event. And Nashville's a great place. I don't know if you knew this stat or not, but per capita, Tennessee has more washers based upon your population than any other part of the country. Did you know that?
Really? I did not.
Yeah. No, guys don't want to know that either. They don't want to hear that. Largest concentrated population of washers is Florida, but Texas itself is almost as big as Florida is right now. And then you would be the North and South Carolina, and then actually, believe it or not, California.
Nice.
And that's exactly where the majority of the washers are, like the big clusters.
That pretty much tells you where our customer base is.
I just told you.
Yeah. Well, no, you confirmed that's where we sell a lot of products. West Coast, Florida, the Southeast, Texas.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
That's the way it is.
And that's the let's just put it this way. Our databases tell us that's where the guys are at. So
yeah. Well, what do you think the future is for the paid training versus free training and industry expos? Where do you think all this is headed?
I think with open source and technology the way it is, I think that training is going to be let's just you're an Android guy or an Apple guy?
Usually Apple stuff.
Okay, so if you're an Apple guy, you understand this. You walk into an Apple store, there's a classroom, right? You've seen it. It's a little mini classroom that they had set up because they wanted to educate the users of their product. They want to hold seminars and classes for free because they're selling you a product. I think that the wave of the future is that every manufacturer, every distributor on the planet is going to have free open source training and know their products even better, because it's an I don't want to get too much into this, but for over the years, so many distributors didn't even know how to start a pressure washing machine, but they're selling them. You understand? And then they're trying to tell you got guys selling equipment trying to explain to their customers how to wash, and they've never washed anything. So the future is that in the future, it's going to become, I think the free is just going to become more and more until you get into, okay, running a business and the actual vocational training of washing. I don't think anybody's ever going to be able to really charge for that in the future, or quote a university to where you go there and you pay and get a degree in washing. I don't think that's going to exist. I think that's going to be even tough for some of the stuff that we see in more advanced things in our and I'm talking about medical things, you know what I mean? As time goes on, people are self-teaching themselves things. I got a 9-year-old that just took second in a competition. Is her first competition as a solo. She's been teaching herself how to dance on YouTube since she was 4. Okay. Her first time she goes into a competition, she takes second place in show for a huge competition. It doesn't happen. That stuff, we've been told, it doesn't happen. They thought they thought she'd been competition dancing since she was 5 years old, and they may not have scored her the way they did if they had known, you know what I mean? Because it's a little bit of an embarrassment for them to say, okay, somebody that just entered into competition dancing, self-taught, winds up taking second in show, And it's not like she's a prodigy or anything. She's a normal 9-year-old little girl. But it's a 9-year-old little girl that was ordering dolls on Amazon from her parents. We didn't even know it. We thought, mom and dad thought we were ordering the dolls, and it was her ordering the dolls herself, because she would pick up mom's iPad and click on the thing and knew, oh, Amazon will deliver those to the door. And we didn't find out till the second set of dolls came, and we said, wait a minute, man. Why are you buying so many dolls? I thought you bought the dolls. No, I didn't buy the dolls. And we found out it was her that bought the dolls, So with that said, the free open source training is going to, let's put it this way, I think there'll always be room for paid, but I think that if companies and corporations and distributors don't get on the ball like Apple, I think Apple was the starter in this thing. That's why I used Apple as the example. As well as I do, if you have any problem with an Apple device or a problem, you call up, they coach you right through it. They walk you through it. They invite you down to the Geek Squad, and you can go, sit in a seminar and learn how to run their stuff. That's the way the world's turning. And if you don't jump on that bandwagon, you're going to be left behind.
I think that it's more advantageous for business owners to belong to, I don't want to say an association or a membership, but some sort of group with like companies and like-minded individuals. So I can go see what Ron's company's doing, how he's answering his phones, how he's scheduling, how he's doing this, how he's training. And if you can get in those groups of people, I think that's way more valuable, because let's face it, if you really want to learn to power wash, you can figure it out, like you said, with open source stuff. I think the real growth in the industry, I think your industry's ahead of the wood, just because you got more people doing it. But I think the real growth in the industry is, how do you go from the power washer, fin stainer guy to being elevated to something more like an electrician or a plumber, where when you tell your grandparents, hey, I'm going to be an electrician's apprentice, they go, oh, wow, that's sort of prestigious for the trades jobs. And they see
if you
that
tell
you
somebody you're if you're a sidewalk cleaner like me, it's not as prestigious.
Right. And it's all perception.
Yeah.
So I think getting around the right individuals, and the rest will work itself out. If you've got that desire to learn, you'll get it.
Well, you mentioned that, right? And this was years ago. I don't know if you know about Albertsons, but Albertsons used to be the largest grocery store chain on the planet till they went bankrupt. I remember cleaning them. This was an interior cleaning, and people don't realize that back then that grocery stores would spend an average of $21,000 on exterior cleaning and an average of about $120 on interior cleaning annually inside the grocery store, because people don't realize the type of cleaning that has to go on in there. And I remember they were doing a tour for the the National Grocery Association. And it was something that I had learned early on. When we were in the store, we got invited to stay for the inspection. Well, of course, we did most of the cleaning. So we're thinking, oh man, we're going to, they're getting graded on this thing. And that's when I realized that when the Albertsons people, the big wigs and all were there was Kroger, there was Walmart, there was Abco, there was all these other grocery store chains that were in there, like you were saying. And they were following around the association directors. And it was funny, because what they were doing is they were all sharing these ideas. These were competitors that were sharing ideas, how to make the food safer, how to figure out how to keep it cooler and keep it better. And this is funny. This is so bad. This is way back in the 1900s. People don't remember that the walk-in reach-ins didn't exist. Everything was the reach over and into the coolers that were in the middle of the aisles. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you're you might be too young to remember that. Well, you were little, so you almost had to jump in those things to get something. But yeah, that was when those things had come about, and they didn't know how to maintain them. They didn't know how to keep them sanitary. And we were on the edge of learning how to do that, along with writing the standards for the National Grocery Association to get it done. And people don't realize, like you're saying, they want to dummy down what they do, but these are the things that, man, if you don't do these things right, somebody could get sick. Somebody could die. You've got to know the proper processes. I started way back when, I think my very, very first YouTube video, people don't realize it, it's in a dairy. We were cleaning a dairy, and they have the Dairy Association has a system of how they want you to sanitize something and clean something properly. And I don't think people understand. It's okay. It's not, you're not a brain surgeon by no means, but it's there with like you said, any tradesman that needs to learn their craft. It's the same type of thing. You know what I mean? A staining guy has to understand the science of staining. He has to understand recognizing what woods are, if woods are soft, woods are hard, how they're gonna, would they absorb oil versus water stain better than others? You know, what's going to be the best product to use? Those type of things. As a professional, you got to know all those things, and absolutely get in an association. And by the way, since you're talking about associations, whether it's CETA, PWNA, UAMCC, IWCA, they're all great nonprofit associations. Look into each one of them because they all have, you know, they have common ground goals of safety and environmental. But when you go to look at the associations themselves, see which one fits better for you. See the type of people that are in them. And I always believe in going into any association with somebody. Don't ever, like, if you go out and try to get into a customer association, invite a customer to take you in. Don't don't go in there and stand in the room and look like the weird guy on the wall. Go in there with a customer, pay their membership for that year, you know, pay their membership into the National Grocery Association or Restaurant Association, and then go to the meetings with them and have them introduce you to people. There's another great tip.
Another thing that you can't even put a dollar amount to is you get with these type of people in these associations, and you might say, hey, would you mind if I had a copy of your employee handbook or your SOPs or this or that? And they'll give it to you. Now that's going to save you so much time and effort to make your own.
You got a baseline.
You grow your company.
You got a baseline. Yeah. And people, my SOP, the man passed away. He gave me his, he was a cleaner that'd been cleaning for 25 years sooner than I was. And he gave it to me. Now, was it perfect for my business? That everything that, you know, he had in there? No, but he had what you want to call the skeleton, the meat and potatoes of what you needed in there. And then you had to create the sections and things and make them your own. And like you said, that's a great way. Mine's online, by the way, guys. It's in my group. If you guys want my manual, I know your SOP, you often give them away as well. But I have mine, and it's in any one of my groups. You can run in there, and it says employee manual. You can just do a search and you'll find it. It's in a PDF.
Yeah. So getting around the right people is what it comes to. I think people, when we first started doing free training, I mean, we're in the coatings industry, so we started getting a lot of flack from other people in coatings industries or people that would do paid training and stuff like that. But I think, for instance, the coatings industry, if you look at the top 100 coatings manufacturers, the top ones are $15 billion. They're $20 billion. And then the number 100, they're still in the hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. So we're like a little bitty gnat crossing the ocean, you know? So we're not, so I guess the idea is it's an abundance. There's so much there. If we share information and ideas together for free, the whole industry goes up and it gets better. And it doesn't, if you get an extra steak on your plate, it doesn't take a steak away from me. So I think that's the mindset everybody's got to realize. There is
so much room. And since you're saying about that, like an extra, I had so many of my competitors that would call me and thank me. And they'd go, Ron, that sale was so easy for us. We really appreciate you being in the market. And they'd go, we want the Pro Power Wash #1 package or the #2 package. And they would look at our packages and they go, okay, we can do that, you know? And people don't understand, like, they would always go, well, you lost it to your competitor. I said, no, I said, we didn't follow up that well enough to close the customer. I said, if we would have been there instead of them being there, we would have closed the deal. That's on us, not our competitor. Right. Good for our competitor to go in there and follow up something we didn't do and close the sale. But I got to tell you something. When you got somebody like myself out there educating the customer, and this was the point, it makes it easier for the competition. And just like you said, if the competition is out there advertising and educating the customer as a whole, it makes it easier for all of us, because let's face it, when you call a pool guy, you call a pest control guy, you call a landscaper, everybody knows what they do. Okay. But when you say you're a pressure washer, they have no idea. It could be from cleaning, detailing cars, to cleaning hoods, to cleaning bus stops. I mean, the market is so huge, it's unbelievable. Hey, I want to just tell these guys this story about concrete, and I think that there's some similarity here with wood. Guys all the time would say, well, I really love to do this. I really love to do that. I want to be a house washer. I want to wash bus stops. I want to wash trucks. I want to wash kitchen exhaust hoods. Well, everywhere that you wash a kitchen exhaust hood, everywhere you wash a truck, everywhere you do something else, there is always concrete. And I always said to myself, you know, when I realized it and made the change, because I started off washing trucks. And I realized that, you know what? The entire world is concrete. Everywhere you look is concrete. And here's the reality of this. Everywhere, maybe not everywhere, but even here in Phoenix, there is lots of wood. Everywhere you look, there's wood fencing. There's wood decking. There's wood doors. There's wood cabinets. Every place in the world's got wood.
I agree. That's the way it is. You find out what you can do, and you go do it. But that's it. That's the way it goes. Let's say hello to some people on here. So we got Joe Velez from Hollister, California. What's up, Joe? We got a couple Facebook users. We can't see what their name is. We got Mike Couch from up in Ohio. You know Mike. Ron, I think you've sat down with him before. He's been to a couple of our events. He's left a little comment there. But I think now would be a great time, if anybody's watching, to throw in a couple questions. I know you got a question for Ron. He can cover the gamut from commercial sales to anything. So if those come up, I think it'd be great. Ron, what's the number one thing that guys don't know that drives you crazy?
That drives me nuts. They think that their website or just sitting back on their heels is going to create, or let's say, one pipeline of ways to get customers instead of having multiple. You know, advertising, marketing, sales is a campaign. It's not just, I put up a website and I paid some guy to do Google ads. Why am I not busy? You know, and I think that's the most frustrating thing to me, is people think just because they open the door, put a website up, the phone's going to start ringing, or the emails are going to start flying in with quotes. And that's why I built a system of what I call unsolicited bidding. And I think you're familiar with it. We just send people proposals without them asking. We don't care if they ask for a proposal or not. Right. We just send them to them.
I think that's a great thing. And I used to do that back in the day, driving down the road. You see a fence, you put a card and a brochure in the mailbox. We'll stain your fence for however many dollars, and those things.
That was an unsolicited proposal.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. So I think that's pretty exciting to see you guys doing it on a big scale. I think a lot of people should learn from that, because that's a big deal. Where's the world of marketing and power washing and experiences and things going with this new internet that's coming with all the virtual reality and things like that? Are you thinking that's going to change anything?
Absolutely. I think I realized that. Maybe you heard this story. I kind of fly. I go to the airport and I buy my ticket. I say I'm going to Orlando, and I say, okay, there. I went on that plane and I get my ticket. I book hotels the same way. I land. I go to the rental. I will get a rental car though, because you will get shut out if you don't get a rental car. But so I go to the rental car place. I start looking for my hotel. The funniest thing is a lot of times I'll start looking for my hotel right when we hit the tarmac and I haven't gotten out of the plane yet, and I'll start searching. Well, I learned that this thing called the Pixel, and I'm not going to get into depth with it because people need to do their own research with it. And I learned this thing called the Pixel was my electronic DNA, an exact DNA. It's not an IP address. It's not. It identifies me, and I didn't understand it at the time. But what was really cool about it is I got off that plane, got my rental car, and because I had been doing that search, Facebook hits me with, "Hey, there's a room waiting for you for $82 at IHG at the next exit." And I'll be darned, it was the next exit. And I hit that button, and in 2 button presses, I paid for that room, and it said my keys would be waiting for me along with the water and a hot cookie.
That's crazy.
And I got off that exit, and that was 2016. Okay.
Yeah.
And I got off that exit and got the room for $20 cheaper than I would have paid for a room probably at that time. And it was so simple and it was so easy that I said, man, this is going to change the game. I mean, it really is. And now people don't realize that anybody that touches your website, whether you got their information or not, you can send an electronic ad back to them. It doesn't matter if they touched it 20 years ago or 20 minutes ago, you've got complete control of that. And with all this virtual stuff that's going on right now, I mean, it's a complete game changer. You're talking about a guy. I don't know if you know what this action is. This is where I started. That's the Polaroid, man.
Yeah. You're
shaking the Polaroid because, in the Polaroid, you could write down the number. You could put the estimate, the number down below it and leave it in the mailbox too.
Yeah.
Because you could show them a demo, with the Polaroid and then, hey, that's your place and, blah, blah, blah. And, now, I mean, it's so simple to be able to interact with clients. LinkedIn, man, I just made a post about that. I've got people that I would have never dreamed looking at my LinkedIn. They're looking at my LinkedIn, trying to find a provider, and pretty heavy hitters when you go look up their credentials. And then to reconnect with them and say, hey, I noticed you looked at my LinkedIn. Was there something I can help you with? That's a huge thing. That's a huge thing to know that those people were trying to contact you, or at least doing some research about you to potentially, because they got a project that they want to procure. And that's just huge. Let's just put it this way. I took salesmen down from a 5-person sales staff supported by 8 people in 2008, 2009. I took it down to 2 people and a part-time support staff because of technology. And we did more. We were able to do more in sales than with, I want to say this number again, than with 5 people and 8 support staff. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
To take it down to 2 and a part-time person, 2 salespeople and a part-time person. I don't think people realize this, and I'll tell you this. I know an $82 million company nationwide doing kitchen exhaust cleaning. They have 2 salespeople.
Yeah.
2. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yep, that's a drop the mic moment. That's the way it is. You can leverage things. So I'm excited to see what happens. I think whoever comes up with the goggles that you can put your customer in, that'll show their house clean before you do it.
That's going to be some crazy stuff. Yeah, it's coming, and that's why with all this stuff going on, man, it's almost as if you can imagine it. It can happen now. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know what I mean? If you can imagine it, somebody can make it happen.
Yeah. You just got to have the will to do it. That's all. That's exciting. What other events have you got coming up, Ron? You got Marco's?
Just Marco's. That's going to be on the 9th, 10th, and 8th, 9th, and 10th. And that's in Houston for some of the guys out there listening. There's a guy from California. I don't know if he's still listening, but hey, on the 7th, I'll be in Oceanside. I don't know the exact location dates, but they should be up in the next couple of days. And it's going to be a day. It'll be a half a day of networking and a half a day of training. So after we do the training in the morning, we're going to do a little networking after lunch at a really favorite spot over there. But the cool thing is you're going to get some free fish tacos. Jeremy Jennings, I don't know if you know Jeremy. He's out there from Southern California. They're always out there on the they're always out there fishing, and they bring in some heck of fish, and he's he's going to bring it all down to this taco stand, and they're going to cook it all up, and we're going to get to eat some fresh fish from the catch that he's going to go on the day before. So pretty cool stuff.
That'll be fun. Well, in Nashville, we're hoping I'm going to try to get Ford to bring out one of those new electric trucks. I don't know if they will, but we're working on that. We've got a bunch of our industry people. We're taking, we're doing sponsors this year. We've never done sponsors, so we're doing them this year. I'm going to try to get hopefully some pretty heavy hitters to.
What's the ticket on that truck? Just out of curiosity.
I got no idea. Probably $80,000. I think it's about like a regular one. I think it's the same price, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, but you don't got to buy gas.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know,
You can charge it with a diesel-powered generator.
Yeah, so that's what we need to start making is diesel-powered generators.
Well, that's what Tesla uses. Nobody knows that. All the charging stations out here in the West, if you pull up to them, they're being charged with it. They're being charged by a diesel power plant. It's funny. I mean, and you laughing because you see that big diesel generator running and those cars all plugged in.
Well, it's just begun. I guess there's a lot now that the money's going into it. They'll start to figure some of this stuff out because it's kind of been the back burner thing for a while. But maybe it's going to change the world. We'll see.
We'll see 2 giant windmills and some solar farms with the next Tesla station.
Yeah. So, probably power wash guys need to be talking about cleaning those. Cleaning the
yeah. Well, you heard about the debacle we have out here in California, right? That small engine, 23 horse.
What are they doing? What's the replacement?
It's going to be PTO on a gas-powered F-150 or a Chevy. What a lot of people don't know is what I talked to a buddy of mine. The standard WT, the work trucks, the standard one. They're coming with PTO built in right now. They're not making them any other way. So Ford and GM and the big auto and Dodge, they all made the jump on this a long time ago. So they knew this was coming down the pipeline. So you're gonna run a 23,000 watt power plant off the PTO, and then you can power anything you want with that electric pressure washer. They don't have a restriction in California on the burner. You can run an oil-fired burner as long as you buy a $500 permit.
Well, it's coming to other places.
It will, and people don't realize it because we all know, we don't want to get crazy about what we think of California, but everything from California will eventually, whether it's a trend, a fad, or fashion, it always makes its way back east. Fortunately, It goes to New York first, and then it fans itself in from the other direction.
Yeah, Tennessee and Texas are always the last ones to know. So
yeah,
that's the way it goes. But it's coming. So times have changed. So I guess there's probably a lot of power washer builders that are trying to figure out how to do this with electricity.
Some are trying to fight the system, and you're not going to fight that. That's billions of dollars. They had that planned. They had that planned way back. You're not going to change it. You've got to, like you said, we have to find an alternative and a source to get it done. And with the 23,000 watt power plant on a vehicle, I guess they're estimating it's a half a gallon of fuel being burnt by the truck because that's an idle. And you're really talking, it's really a good deal. Anybody that runs small engines knows that several small engines are going to burn more than a gallon of gasoline an hour. And people don't really understand that. They always go, well, the emissions of that truck's got to be more than that. And I go, no, I said, if you take a small engine, a 5-horse engine, you take it into a building that's got O2 sensors on the walls, you can have that thing on for less than 2.5 minutes, and those O2 sensors are going off. You know what I mean? They're on. Where you've got cars driving through these buildings and running in them all day long, and it never even triggers the sensors. You know what I mean? But that little small gasoline motor, there's no emissions on them at all. And
right.
And so they basically
it's harder to regulate that small engine than it is the F-150. So
right, and that's the thing, and that's why people want to argue about that, and it's like there's no argument that 150 is burning 20,000 times cleaner than that little motor is.
Oh yeah, well that's coming. So I'm kind of excited to see it. It'll be neat. I think here's the deal: a lot of guys fight noise restrictions. You can't, it's going to cut out the noise problem.
It is.
that's gonna be a plus.
The only thing you're gonna hear now is the psh, that's it. You're gonna hear the water going. Psh.
Yep. So you can start earlier and work later.
That's your biggest thing. No more. It would be, hey, you could run compressors that are not needing that big gas motor anymore. I mean, be electric. It'll still make some noise, but it won't make it'll make half the noise that it did. And I'm sure somebody will figure out how to quiet a compressor down after they don't have a big gas engine coming over the top of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's coming. So I'm excited.
Well, hey, I'm gonna run through these before we conclude. But hey, don't anybody forget about Panhandle 19th, 20th. Caleb's going to be there teaching. Who you bringing to teach with you? Who you
I'm bringing Christian. He's here in our office. He's going to do some demos and stuff. I'm going to be there, and maybe Michael Taylor. He's an ex Power Wash guy in recovery. He works here. He's our operations manager, so he's probably going to come too.
Okay. Are you doing a PowerPoint presentation? I didn't ask you. Are you going to do?
I think Christian's going to do the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, I'm trying to put him in the presentation mode and me more in the get people fired up about new things mode. So
okay. Well, then we're gonna get him in to make sure he does that. That'll be a great ad because I didn't know if you're doing anything like that. But 19th and 20th, guys, Caleb will be down there. Don't forget, Marco's event is going to be in February, just not that long after, a few weeks after that. Time 8th, 9th, and 10th. That's the Washmart event. Check these out. They're all free. NationalCleaningExpo.com, guys. Get registered. NationalCleaningExpo.com. They're free events. Come on out. We're going to have a lot. One thing we do is we have a lot of fun. I think did you have fun in Atlanta?
Always, man. It's always a blast. It's always a blast. So in the comments section here, there's a Google document for the one in Nashville. You can sign up there. Come see us, man. It's free. It's going to be a great time. We always get a honky tonk at night. We rent the whole place out. Everybody gets to come. It's their food's always great at the events. I mean, it's always we got a really good
honky tonk at night. Is there a curfew?
Hey, you just got to get up and stain in the morning. That's all that matters. Yeah, we always really have a really good event. So I think everybody that comes will really, really have a good time. Ron, that should do it, man. You got anything else?
Appreciate it, man. No, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate that. I do have a request. I want to do something with Joe Everest when you get a chance. I want to all three of us. I'd love to have Joe on, man. That guy's so full of energy and always got good things about building businesses. Is awesome.
Yeah, consider it done.
Well, we'll do it. Appreciate everybody.
Thanks, Ron.
Ron Musgraves, guys, out.
All right, man. Thanks, Ron. We'll see you soon. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you got any questions, be sure to drop them in the comments. We'll get to them as quick as we can. Staining University in Nashville, February 24th, 25th, and 26th. Sign up. The link's down here below. So do that. Come. It's going to be a great time. And just want to say thanks for our company, Expert Stain and Seal, fence and deck stains, professional wood care products, cleaners, brighteners, strippers. We're sponsoring the show. And if you need something, check out the Expert Stain Shop, guys. Thanks.